Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Tuesday Night Live podcast from the range with your host, John G. Johnson. Hello, folks. It's John, the firearms instructor. And if you don't know who I am an owner and operator of a firearms training facility in beautiful Cape Coral, Florida. We're off the west side of Florida, down between Tampa and Naples. And I specialize in you. I specialize in a first-time shooter that is looking to become a better shooter. And this live podcast we have every week is giving you more information to make you the best shooter you can be. We have a great show this evening. Go ahead and let me know if someone can hear me. I always like to get a thumbs up from somebody that everything's coming across just fine. It sounds like it is, but we never know until we hear from one of you. So if you would, go ahead and give me thumbs up. Let me know you can hear me. Oh, thank you, Howard. Appreciate it very much. I'm glad you're here, Howard. Thank you. Well, guys, it's a big week for me. One, I am turning 58 on the 14th. I have, which is a couple days from now. I'm down about 37 pounds for deer season. So I've been losing a little bit of weight. And this weekend is opening weekend of bow season down in South Florida. And I've got a couple of places we're going to go bow hunting this weekend. So it's kind of excited. We live for it all year at opening days. And thank you, Howard, for saying something. I appreciate it. Thank you for the happy birthday. So we've got a great, kind of a fun week this week. We've been okay. I won't say we're setting it on fire, but we're doing a few classes every day. The summer's been tough. The economy's tough all over, really. You're seeing it in all kinds of businesses. One of the barbecue restaurants that's been here forever and a day ended up closing. It's Texas Tony's in Cape Coral, which was a baby back rib place. And they closed their doors the other day for the last time. So I feel bad for the employees or everything. They've promised them to give them jobs down in Naples, but that's driving an hour and a half to get jobs. So we try to do as much as we can for everybody, but we've been very fortunate that things are still doing okay. We're not setting it on fire, like I said. We're doing okay, though. So tonight we got a good one because we're going to be talking about upgrades. We sell firearms here at the store. We do a try before you buy. And a lot of people always come in and wanting to know what upgrades can I do to my pistol to make me a better shooter. And be honest with you, a lot of times people sell firearms that they think are bad for them to get something that's even worse for them. And it's kind of a breakdown. They think it's the gun that's doing most of the problems and what they're doing. But simply, it's a mindset shift, really. Upgrading the trigger and upgrading the sights and all that stuff. Hey, Phil, thank you very much for being here. I appreciate you saying happy birthday, too. Thank you, Phil. So what we're going to do tonight is we're going to break down each one of the pros and cons, the problems and the solves of each, exactly how it's going to fix. And you're going to walk away with tonight with a game plan that can take you to the range this week. Whether you're brand new at shooting or pulling the trigger for decades, I promise you at least one of these upgrades on this list that you are not using, and it could completely change your accuracy, your speed, your confidence. So stick around until the end, because I'll show you how to put all these upgrades into action with exact drills, training systems for my students for every week to get you results. Let's get started. So today's group, we're going to talk about top 10 upgrades that will instantly improve your accuracy and your shooting. Now we're going to list this in what I wanted to put together: the pros, why it's good, the cons, the possible downside, the problems, the shooting issues it solves, and the fixes, how to apply it. And as you get further into this, you may have some questions or you may not have questions. That's fine. But if you do, let's discuss them tonight. And maybe you could tell me what upgrade that you've done in the past or that you're looking to do that will maybe make you a better shooter. Take a Glock, for instance. The Glock is very popular. There's a lot of Glocks out there in the world today. If you are a Glock boy or girl, you love Glocks. There's nothing, no one can tell you differently. But I can tell you the first two things that are done to a Glock every time someone wants to upgrade them is they upgrade the trigger and they upgrade the sights. Because the trigger on a Glock is only 5.5 pounds, but it's a loading trigger that makes it very challenging for some students to get that trigger back slow and engaged where you don't manipulate the firearm. And it's somewhat challenging for some students. And that sight system with the box and dot system, sometimes that's hard for students to understand and continuously do it on a regular basis. Like a 3-dot system is pretty easy once you understand that the box and dot system that the Glock has was made for anybody to shoot. It's just there's a lot of negative space in that sight system, and you can kind of shoot over the pistol and not mean to. So let's start with number one. I kind of gave it away already, but number one is a better sights. The pro to better sights is quicker acquisition, especially in low light conditions. When we talk about sights, a lot of times we're talking about some glow in the dark thing or fiber optic that'll help you see it a little bit better. I know a guy who got a weapon. He ended up getting Keith Richards. Thank you very much for being here. And how is New Jersey today? And when he got his red and green fiber optics, he realized he didn't know, which is kind of weird, 30-plus-year-old guy, didn't realize that he was colorblind. And that green sight that he thought he could see better, he couldn't see it at all because they were all the same color. So make sure you look at this stuff before you go jumping into buying anything. So the pro would give you target acquisition, especially in low light conditions. The con, it requires insulation. Take a Glock, for instance. None of that stuff is screwed on. It's pushed in, and there's tools you need to have to use, like a sight pusher and things like that. That can be kind of expensive, and there's a learning curve that you have to understand, because one time, I don't know, 3 years ago, we bought some tritium front post sights for a guy's Glock. I went ahead and told him I could install them. Mistake number one. Mistake number two was me installing them. Mistake number three was when I was using the pusher, I broke the I broke the tritium front post vial, and we ruined a pair of $150 night sights, and we had to replace them. And we made a decision that we will no longer install night sights on weapons. We will send them over to the gunsmith, which is he knows the hell he's doing. I thought I knew what I was doing, but I surely did not do it right. The problem with the con is requiring installation, probably a learning curve if switching to an optic. Problem is slow sight alignment and difficulty seeing the sights inserting lighting. And the fix is upgrade to fiber optic or night sights or a red dot and train with them until they are second nature. Now, I know red dots are very popular right now, and I believe that a lot of people have them on the guns because they don't think they can miss. But I've seen a lot of people go back and overshoot or pull or jerk or squeeze, trying to keep that weapon as natural as possible. Red dots are for quick acquisition. They are not for bullseyes. They're good for that 8-inch paper plate at any distance, being a defensive shooter. They're not for stacking bullets on top of each other. One of the challenges of red dots is what I see is most people aim wrong with them. You use your eyes to aim the gun, and you use the dot on the red dot itself for just using it as an acquisition point, and it's going to help it float. Most people think the red dot is supposed to co-witness with your front post, but technically it's going to be a little higher than your front post, and we won't be looking at our dot up front and the dot of the red dot. We're using one or the other. I feel it's imperative if you're going to put a dot system on your weapon, you want to make sure that you can see through your red dot in case the dot goes bad, the glass breaks, the battery goes dead, that technically you would be able to see through or co-witness through the sight system itself. And a lot of the newer red dots come out, they have cuts in them or serrations in them that will allow you to keep your sights on your gun as well as use the red dot. That's why I'm a big opponent for, well, I don't know. I recommend if you're going to have a Glock 19, 43X, Smith & Wesson Shield, SIG 365, make sure you have one with a red dot and one without, so you can actually run back and forth between dot and red dot and not take it off the gun and put it back on the gun. Having two pistols with exact same frame styles and then running the red dot and the green dot, a red dot and the iron sights is going to be better for you. Number 2 is trigger upgrades or polishing. The pro to this, the smooth pull, cleaner break equals better accuracy. We all know this. The con, it can be kind of expensive, and a poor installation could cause some safety issues. What's trigger problems? Well, it causes jerking of the trigger, leading the shots, pulling the shots off the target. A bad trigger ruins accuracy because of how hard it is to keep it level while we're bringing it back. So the fix should be get a quality trigger or polish the trigger, the trigger pieces. Pair it with a good dry firing product like a laser or something like that. And at the end, you will master your control. Now, a lot of stuff nowadays, Ghost, and there's a lot of different manufacturers. You can either change out the whole trigger or put a sear kit in there and change off a little bit. That's a lot of people do that with a Glock because a Glock's trigger really isn't bad. It's just got a real heavy trigger press at the end and trying to get it back. So I would recommend you can watch YouTube and find a place to learn to put all those pieces back in. But in my opinion, you should do, if you feel comfortable doing it, do it. But if not, it's not that expensive to have a gunsmith put in a new trigger. But here's the caveat. If you're buying a brand new Glock, you need to shoot that trigger on that Glock at least 500 times before you change it out. Because when you change out, we're not changing everything out. We're leaving some springs in the gun and we want to get a broken in kind of deal. And triggers do get softer as you shoot them. So you may, let's say you take that Glock, brand new Glock, and you switch out the trigger automatically. How do you know if it's better or not without having a crappy trigger to begin with? And I always tell people, hey, if you can shoot this pistol like a Taurus GX2, one that has a long trigger press, but it's not a hard trigger press. If you can learn to shoot those guns well, you shoot any gun well, due to the fact that you're going to understand trigger travel better than anybody else. And trigger travel is only the slack of the trigger, getting it all the way through it until the gun goes bang. And the more we can understand how much pressure does my dumbass need to put on this trigger to make the gun go bang and not to pull the trigger, just to press the trigger. Once you understand that, you become a lot better shooter because you know how much slack you need to take out of this trigger to finalize the livability. Nah, that's not a word. You need to get those sight alignments down to a point and cut that shot without manipulating the pistol or coming off of your sight. Because the moment your sight moves, your impact's going to move. So number 2 is trigger upgrade. Number 3, I think, is a quality holster. These are things that I put together. There's no order really of these things. I just think people tend to buy what they see a buddy have, but never actually use it. Or they went out to the gun show and got suckered into one of those guys selling the all about holster, and they don't really get the opportunity to try it. They buy it, and then that's the problem with holsters, man. There's so many. I know I probably have 25 holsters at my house that I've tried in the past that I hate. I keep going back to a leather inside the waistband from Tagwa. That's the one I use. And then when I carry in my pocket, I have a little leather holster I have in my pocket. So it's pretty simple and easy. A quality holster gives you a lot of things. One, it improves your draw speed, your safety, and your comfort. Key thing, guys, is if you are buying a holster and it's a pain in the butt, what do you think you're not going to do? You're not going to carry because it's uncomfortable. So we need to find the right holster that's going to fit you. And the only really way to do that is put your money out. Now, I've been out to the gun show and I've seen the guys there allow people to put them on, but you can't really, how do you know in 10 minutes that it feels good for you? You know, you're not going to know until you sit down. So you are going to invest some money. And this is one of those things for us. The con, most good holsters cost more. And once you wear it for a while, then you're gonna know why it's good or why it's bad. The problem we're trying to solve is it being uncomfortable. If the holster is not comfortable, most likely your draw cycle would not be comfortable, and it's not going to give you the best gun retention. And the challenge of that is once you start putting these kinks in your armor, you're not going to have the confidence to carry because something's just not feeling right. So a good quality holster will give you a lot of the different things. So here's my fix. Invest in a purpose-built holster for your firearm and the way you carry, and practice your daily draw. Now listen, guys, I understand that most places, most people go into ranges now, even us, we don't allow people to just go back and draw from their holster. Just not safe. It's just not one of those. Now we have classes that we teach people to shoot, but you just can't come rent an hour and come draw from your holster, because I have other people back there that may not be qualified like you are, and I can't have them drawing from the holster because you have taken this class or that class. We allow our people who have taken classes with us draw from here when they're by themselves. And the moment someone comes in that is not qualified, they have to stop. It's just one of those deals, guys. But you don't need to come to the range to draw from your holster. Remember that dry firing we talked about before? Many classes, many lives. We talked about dry firing. You can do the same thing. Go to one of your offices, put the holster on, and draw from an empty weapon. Now, you want to have some real fun. I mentioned to you before about most firearms now, most popular manufacturers, there are a good 2, maybe 4, maybe 6 blowback airsofts that you could, it looks like a Glock, it feels like a Glock. When you pull the trigger, the slide comes back. It's just not putting any bullets down range. They're little BBs, little plastic BBs. But you can draw from your holster and make a cardboard target and practice all the time in your garage. And that would be very easy for you to do. But you got to get the holster. You should be able to draw from the holster with no issue. And you should be able to put the gun back in the holster with no issue. Now keep in mind, hardly anybody carries outside the waistband on their belt, but most people are carrying inside their waistband next to their body. So we need to practice the draw stroke. We need to remove the garment that's outside of it and get the weapon down range. If you practice the lift, elbow back, wrist turned, and you practice the presentation, you'll find yourself being able to mix the two together and get to the full strike. So what we're looking for is when you pull the gun from your holster and turn your wrist, canting it just a little bit. That's not too far away from your body, but that is your first shot. And then your full extension shot with both eyes looking down the barrel of the gun, that's your full extension shot. We just got to practice from wrist turn to mid to full. And once you've got that cycle over and over and over again, it becomes a lot easier for you. You want to see that cycle? I have a video on my YouTube channel where I took Mike, he's in his high 70s with a cross draw effect, but I gave him the whole cycle and I gave him everything. That's a good video for you to watch because there is the draw stroke there seen multiple times, and it works. It worked for Mike. Now Mike was cross drawing at one time. Now he's going to appendix, and we got him coming up in the next week, a week after, to practice a different way of drawing. But that's what he did. All right, so investing in a properly built holster is probably a good idea. And then practice. It's going to help you really get there from there. Number 4 is grip enhancements. Now, there's a lot of things you can do, but understanding a proper grip is the first thing. The two thumbs forward that we talked about many times. We can't block our hand from touching the gun. We need to get as much 360-degree grip around that firearm as possible. But the pros to better control, less muzzle flip, and which will improve recoil management. And what ends up happening with the recoil management situation is when the muzzle's high, you're going to not be able to see through the weapon as much as you'd like. So the key thing there is to put some kind of grip enhancement. There's rubber, there's all kinds of stuff you can do. I've seen a lot of people who come in with the rubber grip thing to kind of build a little fatness around the hand. Well, a lot of times that's a permanent modification. Like stippling, for instance. You take a gun and you stipple it. And I've seen great stippling and I've seen crappy scrippling, right? And that is actually taking a soldering iron and burning little moves into your hand to keep it from slipping when your hands get sweaty at the range. A lot of times, all those things you're doing are going to avoid any warranty that you had because you modified the pistol. And then it reduces your resale value when you have done some modifications like that. Now, a rubber grip can be pulled off. That's not a big deal. But that stippling effect, if not done properly, it can be disastrous. What the problem we're trying to solve is the gun slipping out of our hand, and it's going to cause us to have an inconsistent grip. We all know the guy who goes to the range and milks the firearm. They can't control the weapon continuously, so they release and grab and release and grab and release and grab. And when you're pumping the gun like that, that's what the bullet's going to do. Pump the gun, pump the gun. We need to remember the grip on the firearm is good, but it's not solid. How you control the firearm is not with your hands. It's with the system. It's chest, your pecs, all the way to your hands. We're using our core to control that weapon more than anything else. So there's a couple things we can do. You can try to add some grip tape, like a Talon grip. You could add stippling if you know how to do it or want to pay someone to do it. But both of those, the tape can be taken off and on. The stippling is done. You can't fix that. And if you get a little heavy on a couple of them, it's only going to be good for you at that point in time. And anything you want to try to sell it or anything else will be somewhat challenging for you. You're better off understanding proper grip. Has nothing to do with what you're putting on the firearm, but it's what you are doing to keep the firearm level. Now, many students come in here almost every day. We're doing a class or two, and I don't see anybody running in with gloves on. I don't like people shooting with gloves, but a lot of people who are shooting for the first time, you need to feel the contact of the weapon on your hand. And obviously, when you're a little nervous, we get a lot of people who get a little sweaty hands. But most firearms nowadays, to be honest with you, have some kind of retail-friendly stippling that's on the gun to begin with. So it helps from the weapon slipping out of you. So number 5, I would tell you, is to pick out a time and a date to get you a dedicated dry firing routine. What are the pros about dry firing? Well, it costs you no ammo, but it does help you build muscle memory faster. One of the cons I could give you is when you are dry firing, and I'm asking students to dry fire on a regular basis, they're just going through the motions. They're not really driving the gun like they would if it had a bullet in there. Because trust me, we hold the gun differently when we know it's not unloaded versus loaded. So the con would be if you're going to do a dedicated dry fire routine, you got to do it. It requires discipline. Improper dry firing routine can help you build shitty habits. Our dry firing and our live firing should be almost the same. The only real difference is recoil management will not be there. So what we're really focusing on is getting that trigger back. Howard asks, aren't some mods enhancements to value? Nah, it's according to who it is and what it is, right? A red dot obviously would add value to the gun because you're putting $250 gun, $250 red dot on top of it, Howard. But technically, if the customer's buying that gun can't see the red dot, what value is it? So, yes and no. You got a $10,000 race car with all these cams and all this fancy stuff and the lifters and all the stuff that goes in a race car. If you can't see it, no one can appreciate it. So enhancements can add value, but I would say most of the time, if you're putting something into a gun, it's because you want it there. Never buy anything to make a gun look better to sell it, because you're just adding more money into the bucket that you didn't need to do. Hope I answered your question, Howard. Discipline is very important when you the problem what I see most of the time is the lack of inconsistency in fundamentals between live fire sessions. So this is what I'd recommend. I want you to promise yourself when you dry fire, you live fire. So get to the range before you. Thanks, Mom. Hey, no problem, Howard. When you get to the range, you should dry fire and live fire a couple of your drills. You'll find you'll shoot a lot better, and you will get more control over the web. So commit to structured dry fire plan at least 10 minutes per day using a proper technique. If you really want to get good, this is why people don't do it, because it's boring. It's boring if you're doing it the boring way. It's not boring if you really start catching yourself or try to catch yourself doing something, not taking it as aggressive as you should. It's just as important or more important than actually live firing. All right. Number 6, and I see this all the time. I can tell owning an indoor gun range, start using consistent ammo. Better ammo for training. I get it. It's expensive. Couple things we can do, guys. We don't need to buy the cheapest bullets out there, right? Somewhere between $12 and $14 is the average now. You want to make the most out of every round you put down the gun or every trigger you engage. So start working on a slower round count would help you as much, because the average, I think 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I did an average. I had to ask a question on one of my YouTube channels, and the average person shoots 200 rounds in one session. If you think about 9mm being 26 cents a round, plus you get the hour of range time. And what do you think out of those 200 rounds, right? When do you think it got worse? Probably after the first 50. So he had 50 rounds that he did okay and was pretty good. His second 50 was, his third 50, his last 50, he should have quit. Because now he's picked up 150 rounds of bad habits. And do you think shooting that pistol 150 times bad is going to make good habits for you down the road? And there becomes our problem. 5 rounds at a time will help you tremendously become a better shooter. All right. What's the pro? The rounds themselves will be more consistent and you'll have better data on your shooting. The cons are, and I'm not talking about going out and buying high-end bullets that, just for range time. I think it's silly. But I would not go get some white box. We're seeing a lot of other stuff on the market today, just because it's $10 a box. I can tell when someone's shooting a cheap round in the range. They smoke a lot more. They make my store smell a lot more. It's the powder they're using, and all that stuff goes in the gun. Listen, I've been using Pistol Pete ammo. Now he has a website and he sells all over the United States. He ships ammo, no issue. But I can tell because he's a remanufacturer, and I've known him for probably 10 years. Been using this product probably about 10 years. And when I shoot his product, my store, it's no bad smells, none of that stuff. The moment someone brings in any white box Remington or any of that stuff, the god awful smells that are coming from that ammo and how much more smoky that ammo is. I can't imagine that being good for the gun as much as good for us. We have filtration. We go and we clean it, we scrub everything. But I know I don't have to scrub as much with Pete's ammo. And it's pretty economical. We sell 100 rounds of 9mm for $28. So not a bad little deal. But quality ammo can cost a little more. But if you put that through your gun, put the crap through your gun, and it causes you to have issues or jamming or anything else like that, what are we working on? The problems we're trying to solve is the group size may vary and inconsistent because of poor ammo performance. The fix is to train with consistent ammo type so you can track the true skill and performance. I would recommend, and this is one of those things, I had a class today and they were asking, what do we need? What all should we do here? And I kind of told her, okay, well, you're buying this weapon and you're going to come back but you should have at least every firearm you have, you should at least have 500 rounds of ammo for that pistol or that rifle or that shotgun or whatever it is, because a weapon with no ammo is just a hammer. That's not going to help you very much. So that's why we always kind of tell all the students nowadays, hey, listen, stick to one round. Stick to a 9mm. When the cowboys back in the old days, what they wore on their belt worked in the pistol and it worked on the lever action of the rifle they had. They weren't carrying a bunch of stuff. Okay. All right, I'll come back to that, Howard, in a few seconds here. We'll answer that. Number 7 is a mind shift to train with a purpose. I see this an awful lot with people nowadays just coming to the range and not really having a plan or a program. I see a lot of people come in, load 15 rounds in a magazine, and by their second mag, they're into 30 rounds of 9mm, and you should visualize their targets because they're not accurate. They're just pulling triggers and putting the rounds wherever they hit. Now, we don't charge for targets, so you don't need to save that target. We have paper plates back there too. But when they come here with the mindset is I'm going to shoot 200 rounds no matter what, well, that's what you're going to get. But if they said, I am going to work on today, I'm going to working on my grip today. I am going to get control of this pistol, and I'm going to try to keep that weapon level the whole time, and I'm not going to flex my grip while I'm doing it. Or I'm going to work on my trigger today, and I'm going to work on whatever it is. You just got to get a system together to help you tremendously. That's what we put together, a lot of this stuff for you guys. These drills we do, the handgun training system we got going on right now, well, that's a drill a week. I can give you a drill a week that you can take to the range. You're going to get the homework. You're going to get the PowerPoint presentation. You're going to get feedback from me when you turn your targets in. You're going to get a lot of different stuff, and that's a membership-based thing, but you get to work with me for a full month for only $29. $29.99. We do a call on Mondays, and then every other Monday we do it. We turn in your homework, turn in your paperwork. I give you a PDF target to turn in, and I tell you why the drill is important, what's important about it, how to do it, how to solve it, and get you better shooting. So, it's all about survival, really, if you think about it. We need, the firearm itself is just a tool, and we need to know how to operate it properly. That's what the YouTube channel was all about, is to motivate and educate and entertaining. And we're just trying to do everything we can to support you in your accuracy journey. So every round fired builds a skill, not just noise. That's the pro right there. The con requires planning and focus, not just casual shooting. The problem you really have with this is we talked about before, ammo is expensive and you're wasting it on random plinking without improvement. Here's the fix. You could show up with a plan, a goal, a measurement standard for each range time. I think people forget that the firearm that's in your home is your lifeline. It won't do anything without you, and it's only going to do what you do. It can't be accurate. You have to be accurate. It can't racket slide. It can't pull its own trigger. It can't do anything. So you need to have the mindset that I run the tool and the tool doesn't run me. And that's what we need to get to on a regular basis by putting some training with a purpose into your program. We get students coming in when they start their journey, and we give them, this is what you need to do. Week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. And then we keep adding to them. And then we give them this drill and the next drill and the third drill to kind of work. We did a handgun training system That's going to start that back up in September. That's people all over the United States. I'm working with people at night to get them to understand what they need to do with the weapon, working on their accuracy, working on their fundamentals. First week is all about the foundation. Second week is about trigger. Third week is about speed and accuracy. And fourth week is about defensive stuff like shooting around, shooting one hand and things like that you don't get to practice very much. So number 7 was a shift of purpose. Train with a purpose. Do not go to the range without having an idea what you plan to do. I can tell you any of the students that I've trained in the past have always come with the new targets. They've got just the markers themselves. Here's a tip for you. Next time you're at Walmart, Dollar Store, Walgreens, Publix, wherever you are, and you find Sharpies, red, blue, green, purple, I don't care what color it is, get 4 or 5 of them. And then every time you cut a string, which is 5-shot rounds, 5-shot string, I want you to mark your bullet holes. This will start helping you identify what you're doing with the trigger each time. If you're aiming at the target and they're all shooting low and left, well, most likely you're doing something to manipulate the pistol left. Whether it's over your nose and not over your dominant eye, whether you got your finger too far in the gun, maybe you're under gripping with your left hand and you're over gripping with your right hand, or vice versa. You can do a lot of different stuff. You're standing in a stance that's going to cause that. Your grip may cause that. But the idea of any kind of training program or anything is to give yourself the identification of what you're doing wrong to fix it. And that's a good tip for you there. Number 8 is target variety. I see a lot of people come here, we have circles back there, we have silhouettes back there, we have paper plates back there, 8-inch and 6-inch paper plates. I think that's the greatest target I could give you guys. And you could go to the dollar store and pick those up pretty reasonable. I know paper plates are expensive nowadays when you go and buy them at Walmart, but you could anything like that. And continuously, I have an old man that comes in here all the time on Sundays, and he'll go through the trash and pull out all the people's targets, and he'll cut out the little circles out of each one. And he just takes them home, takes some paper plates, sticks them on there, and he comes in. Harley uses targets. He uses all trash targets, and I appreciate that. But, the black magic marker I told you about can make any target. Just circle, box, triangle. You don't need to worry about, just got to find something you need to aim at, and that'll help you to run. The variety of targets will keep training engaging and challenge your different levels and skills. We need to be careful that we're not switching too often to prevent fundamental mastery. The problem is, if it's the same target over and over, you know the one I'm talking about, the silhouette, that is right behind me, right? You see those black silhouettes in the back, and everyone comes to the range and puts that at 3 yards or 5 yards and aims at the red circle in the middle of the guy's chest. Well, is that really in the middle of his chest, or is that on top of his guts there? So, and that's kind of, after a while, that gets kind of boring. But you want to more be in the chest of the guy, not in the guts of the guy. So that's it. That's kind of a deal. And you still plateau at the range. The fix is to rotate your accuracy, your speed, your decision making with targets. This will help tremendously track your progress. I see a lot of people have a husband and wife that have been training for a long time, and they mark their 1, 2, 3, 4 on a paper plate. They just crisscross it on a paper plate. Pretty simple and easy. and they put that thing out there, whether they're shooting pistols or rifles, and it's called a command drill. He calls 4, and she shoots the 4, and 2 and 1. Just keeps them going, doing something different. They're both retired cops. They've been shooting an awful long time, but they continuously do it each week, and they have fun with it. They bring the carbine out, and they shoot the carbine that way as well. It's kind of a fun little deal, and it keeps them motivated, and it keeps them having fun. And just kind of find the thing that's going to work best for you. Number 9 is video feedback. Now, I use this an awful lot because I try to explain to students that you can't look over the pistol. You got to look through the pistol, and you can't pull the trigger. You need to press the trigger. And when you watch people manipulate the firearm, and they've got it up there, and when they shoot, the gun's at an angle. If the gun's at an angle, where do you think the impact's going to be? At an angle. So what happens, the easiest thing to do is have someone videotape you or put a videotape up. It reveals mistakes that you don't notice in real time. Now, a lot of new students have got a lot of balls in the air. They're juggling a lot. So when I videotape somebody to kind of show them that their finish is allowing the front post to dip, which means they're bending their wrist during the shot. They don't really even realize you're doing it so we give them the control by driving with their chest muscles. If it's a woman, driving with their back muscles. It's a lot easier for them to see it once I tell them about it, but once they identify it and see it, it surely is. Where's the con of this? Well, most gun ranges, not ours, but a lot of them don't allow videotaping. You are going to require someone else, maybe if you don't, you're going to have a tripod, and you're going to have other stuff you need to put together. And some people don't like watching themselves, so there's a lot of cons to it. The problem is, as any time, is if you can't recognize what you're doing wrong, well, how can we fix it? How can we really get to the next level if we can't identify it? And I think the video feedback will help identify an awful lot. Because you may not recognize that you're having a poor grip, or you're dipping the gun, or you got the gun at a weird angle, or you're lifting your head up over the shot to prairie dog or identify where the impact of the bullet is, or you dip your head to get to the gun versus bringing the gun in your line of sight. So these things, then you can start seeing them and go, oh, look at that. I could solve that one thing by keeping your head up. You could solve your accuracy by making sure the weapon is over your dominant eye, and you're looking through the weapon, not over the weapon. Very common, very common. Film yourself shooting from multiple angles if you can, and analyze them and adjust your technique to become a better shooter. Number 10 is try to find a structured plan, like our handgun training system. What it does for you guys, it removes the guesswork and it ensures a balanced skill growth. The con, it's going to require you some commitment to follow the plan. The problem you're going to have is the more stagnant you are at the range, or you walk out of here, you could be honest with me, if you leave the range with confidence, that means you shot pretty well. But if you leave the range each week disappointed on how you shot, well, how fun is that? That's not fun at all. That's why one of the tips I'll give you is you never leave this range on a bad bullet. You leave this range on good. I don't care if you got to put it 2 feet in front of the gun. Make sure you leave with a good, solid string of bullets to make you feel the confidence you need for the next time you come. You can become better. The fix is to find the program like the handgun training system. If you guys want to know a little bit about the handgun training system, there is a lot of videos on our YouTube channel. But basically, what it is a membership based program for students like you. What it does for you, it gives you a target a week, it gives you a PowerPoint presentation, it gives you a PDF target. You're able to download your target into our course system. I'm able to identify what you're doing wrong and help you fix it. You get 4 drills a week, one a week, 4 drills a month, one a week. You get 4 PowerPoint presentations. You get 4 PDF targets, and you get all the archive targets that are already in the system. Like there's like 24 right now, 24 other targets. You can never be bored at the range. At the moment you sign up for it, it's a membership based thing. It's $29.99. You're going to be working with me for $29.99 a month, and you're going to have all your questions you have at the range, what to do at the range, how to do it, what should I shoot, how many should I shoot. And then you're going to get you and I to look at your targets and probably help you identify what you're doing wrong. It's a great program we offer for a lot of people. If you're interested in it, you can always comment, let me know, and we can get, or you can go to my YouTube channel and ask questions there as well. So there you have it. There's 10 upgrades that you can instantly improve your shooting. The key takeaway is you don't need to buy a new gun to start shooting better. You just need to start making smart changes. Whether your gear, your technique, your mindset, and then actually train with those changes until it's second nature. If you want to take some of the guesswork out of what you're doing, you can always look at the handgun training system. Caveat, this week is next Monday. We're not having it because I'm going to be in the woods bow hunting. But the following Monday is when we're going to start it back up. Everyone who's in the handgun training system gave me permission to skip a week because of the bow hunt. And we're going to give 2 drills for the following week. 2 drills for the following week. Every week, you're going to get a brand new drill, printable target, a step-by-step instruction so you can train with a purpose and track your progress and keep getting better. If you want to get this drill for free, just let me know. Just say, I don't know, you could say handgun training system, and we'll send you what we have available for you so you can get better and grow with your skills. Well, that's the evening here, guys. Let's go up and answer some questions from a couple people, if you don't mind, real fast. All right. First of all, let's say thank you for Howard. I'm glad you're here, sir. Phil, thank you. Keith Richards, thank you. Howard asked, are mod enhancements value? Well, I told you what my opinion is. I think they are to a point, but I think it's values on what person wants to pay for it. So Howard asks, how do you know when you practice a drill has gone through the benefit phase by continuing it? I think what happens, that's a good question. Howard's asking, well, how do you know when you're done practicing and you should stop? Well, I can tell you that most people get kind of fatigued around 50 to 75 rounds. And then what I would say, Howard, is when you're working these drills and you're doing 5 rounds at a time and you're using your markers the way you mark, you can start seeing a pattern as the bullets start laying down lower and lower and lower. At that point in time, switch up the drill, change the size of the target, or bring it close up to finish out the day. But somewhere around 50 to 60 rounds is what I would stick to. Most of the handgun training system, like last week's drill, was a complete 45 rounds. We did 15 shots 3 times. We got the 45. But most of the stuff we're doing is 20, 25, 30, 35, 40 at the most. And it kind of gives you that. So, and then, yes, once we get to a point where we're not impacting where we want to, then it's either time to change the drill or time to leave, if that makes sense. I want you to challenge yourself each week, but I don't want you to overconsume too much as well. Stan said nothing is wrong with a 38 special for revolver in addition to. Yep, you're right. Yep, nothing wrong with that. I found out what I do is I log on the days. I'm trying to read this and talk to you guys at the same time. Yeah, so Keith's saying he's got a good plan. He puts together, he logs everything. That's, you don't need to write a bunch of stuff, guys. You can take pictures. You got your phone, you got available to your phone itself. I highly recommend you make some kind of routine for yourself, whether you make a log like Keith is doing here, Kurt is doing here, or whatever you got to do. But you want to remember what you're doing, what's working for you. You want to challenge yourself. You want to keep the interest up. Remember, the vital triangle is a big area. We don't need to be bullseye shooters to shoot that. We just need to be confident. We need to be that defensive shooter we need to be. Well, thank you very much for being here this evening. As always, we almost got the 13 or 14 people watching. I appreciate each week you guys spending your time with me. Thank you for anybody who commented this evening. Thank you for my birthday wishes. And until next time, God bless, be safe, and remember, you are your first line of defense. Next week, God bless, and I appreciate you. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.